Hello, guys. Hello, hello. Speaking out loud. How are you guys all doing tonight? 16 of us in the chat. Nice. Well, rather, in the live. Um, I have one question from Brian. I shall answer that. Hello, Brian. Your question is as follows. Should I be concerned? A older lady I'm dating told me she does not want to be intimate early as past relationships she got used sexually and wants to focus on herself now. Well, Brian, this seems pretty typical. I mean, this is pretty common, like female dating mentality. Um, Women want to be sure and feel secure, knowing that the guy's gonna stick around and not use them. In other words, just have sex with them and leave as quickly as possible, which is ultimately many guys' dream. So, yeah, I think it's normal. Like, I don't think there's anything you need to be concerned. However, if you're just looking for a casual hookup, I mean, that's not what she wants. So, what are your thoughts, Brian? I mean, what are what do you think you should be concerned about? Like, she might be just very messed up from this past relationship or something. I mean, I think it's pretty standard that, lots of women feel used sexually and are used sexually at times, of course, but this is very standard. So I don't think there's anything to be too concerned. David asked a question. I am just wondering, what's your views on cream pies? My other half will never let me do it. Don't mean to sound like a pervert. Well, that's interesting. Could just not be your thing, but if you guys have been together for a long time, there might be something meaningful about that. Like she doesn't fully trust you. Um, do you think that could be the case, David? Because you said she's your other half, so it sounds like it's a long-term thing, and it might be a sign that she's not 100% convinced, like you're the one, basically. However, it could just be not her thing. She could just be grossed out by it, but in a very, very long-term relationship, it seems there could be something there. That's all I'm going to say. What do you think, David? So, Jake Mai says, do tell all, will be responsible. Awesome, Jake. So, how are you guys doing? How's your dating lives going? Like, have you been on any dates lately, or have you not been able to get a date at all? Um, has there been anything that's like, what? Like, why do females? I don't get it lately. Anything like that where you're just like, has there been any times you just thought, oh, women are just emotional beings and they make no sense, and you want to know the truth about why they acted the way they did, and just stop relying on this whole emotional beings, you know, excuse. Um, Brian says dating in Los Angeles is hell, lol. Oh god. Yeah, I can only imagine. I did like 10 years of dating in New York City. It was pretty intense. So I can imagine LA has its own hellish qualities as well. Um, Another question for you guys. If it were up to you, what would be your ideal sexual scenario? Would it be to have sex every day? Would it be to have like a different person every day? Would it be to only engage in like threesomes? Like, what would be the ideal if, you know, nobody cared what you did? Curious. So let's see. Edward says, my partner loves me but doesn't want any sex. She was raped twice. Any hope for this relationship? Edward, if you were asexual, there would be hope for the relationship. However, I mean, she doesn't want any sex. That's her choice. But I'm just gonna be completely honest, Edward. I would go. People cannot live like that, especially if you have a sex drive. She needs to find somebody who also does not want any sex. I don't think there is hope for this relationship. I don't think you should stay with somebody depriving yourself of sex and your sexual needs your entire life. And, she needs to find somebody who is a better fit for her, who isn't suffering sexually in a relationship with her. So, what do you think, Edward? But I don't I don't want you to put yourself through this. It's not healthy. You're going to go crazy. Crazy says, how do you think you would do if you were a guy out here dating? Honestly, crazy, I think I'd do well. Perhaps that's, just who knows, obviously. But I think that a lot of the typical mentalities that cause problems for many guys, I don't have. And I'm not saying looks are not important, but I don't think I would get tripped up in many of the scenarios that like your average guy gets tripped up because I'm a girl. So I have like I have the understanding of what women are thinking, what turns them off, what repulses them, what they crave, what they need. So I think that would help me out. I think I would have a big advantage over like your average guy who was raised as a guy, thinks like a guy. So that's my reasoning for why I think I would do better than average for sure. Jen Marie, hey Jen Marie. She says, my ideal would be to stay single. So why is that, Jen Marie? Are you in a relationship? And what would you be doing staying single? Like, would you have just casual sex with people? Would you be single but like have different long-term relationships with multiple people? Like, what would it be, Jen Marie? Thank you for sharing. Um, Sergio says, I'm traveling soon for work. The crew I'll be working with has a person I'm interested in. How should I conduct myself? I am planning on keeping it cool and not making any moves until I pick up a vibe. Yeah, I think that sounds like good advice. Keeping it cool and trying to create that vibe before making a move. If this is somebody, you're going to be working with all the time. Yeah, I think that makes sense, Sergio. Try to talk to her, try to chat her up, maybe do a little flirting before making any sudden movements. Do you know what I'm saying? You think you can do it, Sergio? So then, Good Day asks, personally, my problem is when to ask a woman to go on a date. I'm capable of connecting, and some girls, female colleagues at work or else compliment me. I just don't know at what point to escalate. Okay, well, this is good. You're good. You're good with connecting, and girls compliment you. Um, you know what? Good Day. My advice to you is just try it one time. Ask a girl on a date. Wants to hang out outside of work or wherever you're connecting with girls. Just do it. Just do it sudden and just do it abrupt first, and then you will be able to get some feedback like, that was too soon." But it's probably not gonna be too soon. I mean, if a girl is connecting with you and she kinda gets the vibe you're interested in her and she's interested in you, she expects you to ask her on a date. She wants you to ask her on a date if, she's connecting with you. She knows what guys are like. She knows they're like vaguely nervous, probably about asking the girl on a date. So she's expecting it. It's not going to be like this sudden shock, like, what? Where did that come from? That makes no sense whatsoever. No, she knows it's coming. So it's not going to like scare her, it's not going to shock her. Maybe she's not interested, but it's not something you need to be worried about. Like I noticed this, as I told you guys before, like I had this rejection club where I would help guys ask women out, and they would talk for a long time, and they would come back, and I'm like, "Did you get her number?" And they're like, "Oh, no, I didn't. There wasn't an opening." I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, the opening was when you decide to leave, you just say it. You just say like, "Oh, can I get your number? I'd love to, like, get to know you better, talk to you outside of here. Maybe I could take you to this place." That's completely normal. They're expecting it. When the girl's talking to you, she's having a conversation with you, she knows, well, this guy's probably gonna be asking for a number. So hopefully that helps you, good day. Just do it. Just do it should be your motto. Make sure you do it. So, so Sergey, could you explain this a little better? It's only a 2 week stint. Should I be more proactive? Well, again, Sergio, kind of like I was giving advice to Good Day, make sure by the end of this 2 week stint at least, you are proactive and make your move. But if you can build attraction through like flirtation throughout the 2 week stint, that would be best. So then Edward says, "You are right." Edward, I hope this isn't like a terrible moment for you right now, but it just doesn't work out when people have horribly different drives. And it's just not healthy to live without sex. Like it just causes mental issues and it's important. And I feel like we just undervalue it so much. And a lot of people will try to convince you, oh, like a relationship isn't about sex. Well, it is because you're committing to be sexually exclusive to them. So you could be friends with her. You could support her as a friend. But if you're going to be sexually exclusive with somebody, make sure that they're able to meet your sexual needs. In other words, they have the same sex drive as you or similar. It's just sad to me. Like when people are just trapped in like sexless relationships and they're literally trapped, literally, quite literally. Jimbo Jones says, "Bounce out, Edward." Indeed. I mean, she's going to be happier if her partner is more asexual, honestly. She will not feel like, "Oh, I can never satisfy him and I'm guilty." It's better for both people if your sex drives align, in my opinion. So then Brian says, "Is it ever okay slash smart to make a physical push towards intimacy, or should I wait until it's blatantly obvious she's interested?" Yes, Brian, it is okay and it is smart to make a physical push towards intimacy. However, you never want to push like zero, like let's say on a scale of 0 to 100, you jump from 0 to 15. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say you're sitting talking to someone and you jump to like grabbing a breast. Like, that would be assault. You know what I'm saying? You want to slowly escalate. Maybe test the waters first, holding a hand, looking deeply into the eyes, brushing the hair out of somebody's face, kissing. But yes, at some point, you're going to have to make a physical push towards intimacy because many women are not going to make it blatantly obvious. Only a small segment of the female population makes it blatantly obvious. And to be honest, it's not the majority, it's the minority. So at some point, yes, you're going to have to make a physical push, and it is smart and it is okay. However, just please don't leap forward. Just simply try to test the waters, read the sign, and very, very gradually work up to, you know, grabbing the thigh. You know what I'm saying? You want to just start with simple things like a kiss, for example. So, what do you think, Brian? So then Austin says, are females territorial with the guy they like? My office has a much higher ratio of girls to guys, and I was flirting with one when another girl I know interrupts just to say hi. Um, for sure. I mean, for sure. Absolutely. They can be. Hello, Mr. D. He says, hi, Victoria. When did you start to notice your own sexual proclivities? How did you come to terms with your own hypersexuality and high libido? How did you handle it? That's actually a pretty good question, Mr. D. It's, I like that question. Um, how did I come to terms with it? It's a good question. You know, I think like when I became a stripper, that was really like my breakthrough moment because then I really had to like, that was kind of the first time like other people in my life knew because they were kind of like, what the fuck? Like, you, what, where, why, how, when? And I had to kind of tell people, yeah, I wanted to do this. And I had to kind of own my sex positivity or whatever. So that really helped. I think that was kind of like the do or die moment that changed everything. But then after that, I did read a lot of books on and kind of got really into like researching on FetLife and learning about kink. That really helped as well. Just learning more about kink. And there's a lot of people on FetLife who really own their hypersexuality and high libido, and it's really inspiring because it's so not something you see in the real world. Also, I went to Kink Fest, which is this big one of the biggest like conventions for the kink community, and that was really eye opening. The first time I went to one of those conventions, and that really inspired me. Just seeing all these people who owned it, and I remember I went to one lecture, and we're all sitting in chairs, obviously, and then people were like, the speaker said, you know, for every person who's sitting in this chair, there's 3 people who, like, will never make it here because they're scared kind of thing, and that really kind of affected me, and I'm like, "You know what? I'm really happy that I got through this." And it's difficult, it's not easy because we live in a very sex negative world full of sex shamers. So, it's definitely not easy, and even now, like, I see on TikTok and stuff, women shame hypersexuality so much. Like they literally think that all hypersexuality is caused by childhood trauma or whatever. I'm like, what the fuck? Like it's not. But there's just so much like, oh, there's something wrong with you. You need healing. You need therapy if you have a high sex drive. Or even if you have a high sex drive, you have like persistent genital arousal disorder because there's something wrong with like getting aroused. Like it's just very bizarre. There's a lot of weird messaging out there, in my opinion, about hypersexuality. So, yeah, Mr. D, what do you think? What do you think about it yourself? But yeah, there's a lot of people like on FetLife and stuff who just they like own it. They embrace it. They're like, yeah, I'm a sex addict and I'm proud or whatever. I'm hypersexual and like you just realize it's not a big deal. It's just people shame it. But I don't know if that was the best answer, Mr. D, whatever. I just kind of rambled. So then Raymond says, sex can't be dismissed if either person in a steady relationship still thinks about wanting or doing sex. 100%, Raymond. Jen Marie says, I would stay celibate, but I have a good toy collection. Wow, Jen Marie, that's fascinating. Why would you stay celibate? I'm curious. Would it be just like temporarily or forever? Hello, Kessel Soul. And then Jen Marie says, and focus on making money and bettering myself and my life. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. But would it be forever, Jen Marie? Um, so then Good Day says he will try it. Fantastic. Castle Soul says, I'm still trying to find my queen. I would want to apply all the knowledge you gave us. I hope you do find your queen, Castle Soul, and I hope you get to be applying this information for sure. Nadumi. Hello, Nadumi. He says, Hi, Vic. I'm able to make my voice seductive, deep with the croak at the end. Should I speak this way with her all the time, or should I save it for a sexual, seductive vibe to make it more effective? I don't think you have to speak that way all the time. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. I would just save it for sexual, seductive vibes. It's going to be hard to like alter your voice permanently. And I don't think that's going to make like the difference. But it could be a turn on sexually, so definitely try it out, see if she likes it. Miguel Thrifts. Hello, Miguel. Thank you so much for your super chat and for blessing us with your presence in the chat. We love Miguel. So he says, can't chat right now, but everyone help and support this big-headed, beautiful lady. You crack me up, Miguel. By donating or liking and sharing, she gives good information and she never ignores anyone. So be kind and donate what you can. Thank you so much, Miguel. You're awesome. I really appreciate you. Very much. Oh, gosh. Tell me more about you, Miguel. Who are you? Where do you come from? How did you find my channel? How did you get this generous mentality as well? So then, Lucky Prime says, I talked to a girl at the gym and asked her to copy. Proud of myself for getting out of my cover zone. Amazing, Lucky Prime. I'm very, very proud of you. I am 100% proud of you. So I don't know if you were one of them, Lucky Prime, but so many guys asked me, can I talk to a girl at the gym? I'm like, please do. And you asked her out to coffee. You didn't just talk. You didn't just make conversation. You actually got to the point. Whether she rejected you or not is not relevant, really. It's the fact that you are building this skill for yourself. You know you can do it and you will do it again. So very, very good, Lucky Prime. Dream Unrealistic with Jonathan Barry says, good to see you, dear. Good to see you, Dream Unrealistic. So then Jen Marie says, have you tried the plant-based Ben& Jerry's? Good stuff. You know, I don't think I have, Jen Marie, but I have heard that this is good stuff. Kessel Soul says, I want to make art for the female gaze. I think it's so much more interesting than the male gaze. How do you suppose I can get some reference for what the female gaze is? Well, I don't know if you heard my last live, Kessel Soul, but I did do the 10 principles of the female gaze at the very end. As I call them, the 10 female gaze fallacies or fantasies. Take your pick. But one good way I think you can do it is reading like romance novels and then just thinking of anything that deviates from like realism, anything that deviates from like your experience as a man, you're like, that's not the way the world works. That's not how men think. Those deviations from the mean or whatever, that is where you're going to get insight into the female gaze because you're like, man, they want it so bad. They're writing reality in the image of their own fantasy. You know what I'm saying? So that is one way you can get insight into female gaze. Like I told you guys, I'm reading this romance novel series, and I'm just like thunderstruck by like the leaps and jumps that this author makes to, you know, get off on the female gaze. Like it's absolutely absurd. Like I'll explain to you guys. This woman She's living in a house with like 5 boys and men, whatever. And um basically she asked if she can live with them, and they have like their pick of every single girl on this island. They get tons of sex from whoever they want. But then as soon as she lives with them, they give up all sex with everybody on the island, all 5 of them, just to have sex with her, and they're like, "Can you satisfy us all?" And she's like, "Yeah, I can." They're like, "Great, we'll give up everyone else for you." And one guy makes the decision for everyone else in the house of these 5 guys that they're all gonna give up sex with everyone else as well, and it's just completely normal. Nobody's, like, thinking hard about the decision, what they're giving up, why they'd wanna give it up. No, they just give it up because that's one of the female gaze fallacies, which is that the man is just so entranced and obsessed by her, with this karmic, like, lust for her that, it's just a no-brainer, where in reality, it's a fallacy. Am I am I right? So, you guys know what I'm saying, right? You can understand the female gaze in that moment, in my opinion. Eric says, "I genuinely love this channel." Thank you so much, Eric. Kessel Soul says, "These 6 positive places seem great. Be free, learn yourself." 100% Kessel Soul. Dream Unrealistic says, "Wonderful, sensible advice as always. Hope to catch up with you sometime about your passion for the laws of attraction." Well, Dream Unrealistic, I wouldn't say I have a passion for the laws of attraction, but thank you so much for the kind words. Then Mihir says, "Would love some female mind cheat codes, simple behaviors, actions that men can replicate to stimulate the female brain." Great question, Mihir. And after I make this video on the 10 female fallacies, I think I could find some simple things that hit upon those 10 female fallacies to stimulate those fantasies. You know what I'm saying? Great question. Gus Gus says, "I was just wondering if you're still shy or is it okay now when you're talking to new people?" Um, okay, Gus Gus, great question, great question. Well, I had like severe social anxiety, okay? And I've kind of like cracked it in many scenarios that I was once very socially anxious in. However, I still have some social anxiety in certain situations, and I do kind of like overthink things, I think, more than most people would. However, I have reduced it a lot. However, would I still consider myself shy? I would, because I feel like I still have that inner propensity towards shyness. Do you know what I'm saying? And I definitely can feel very anxious in certain social situations. But like talking to new people, that's not really like one of the situations I feel especially anxious in. It's weird. There's certain situations like I don't care about. Like for example, if I just meet like a guy who's a stranger, like I'm not going to feel anxious talking to him. However, if I meet like a girl, I might feel a bit more anxious. So stuff like that, you know what I mean? What about you? Do you think you're shy, and what's your story in that respect about like shyness? Ted Barley says, "Princella wrote a book called 21 Shades of Men. I would give anything for you to read that book and give your thoughts." Well, I'm going to write it down right now because I've actually been looking for a new book like that to read. 21 Shades of Men. And why do you like it? And why would you give anything for me to read that book? I'm curious. So then Eric says, "My problem is that I'm somewhat afraid to show attraction or let a girl know that I like her because I'm afraid I'll be rejected, scolded, and I admit I'm self-conscious when I talk to women." Okay, Eric, this is like the most common problem in the world. You're not alone. You're not weird. It's very intense because it's like, I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, but are you thinking that, if you're rejected or scolded, it just means like you can't cut it as a man, like you have no skills, you'll never learn the skills, stuff like that. I mean, it's hard And just a little rejection can just be like, "Ugh, I just give up. Like, I suck. I'm not cut out for this. I'm not born like an alpha," or whatever crazy things a lot of guys think, because it's difficult. It's competitive. You have to learn a lot, and your assumptions are often wrong. Like most guys' assumptions are often wrong. So if you're somewhat afraid to show attraction and let a girl know that I like her, it's completely normal, 100%. And hopefully, the more you educate yourself and more you learn, the less you will feel that way. But I don't see anything strange about that. So then Ellis Jackson said, "Hey, do you do consultations?" I do. I just did one on Friday. It was really great. Just email me my nonlittlerlife@gmail.com if you want one. Jen Marie says, "I wouldn't say forever because what I want can change." Indeed. I like that. Nadumi says, "Appreciate you, Vic." Thanks, Nadumi. Kessel Soul says, "The fallacies you were talking about yesterday were also great, Victoria." Oh, good. I'm glad you like those, Kessel Soul. I thought of one more. There'll be the 11th fallacy. It's also very controversial, though. Hey, Red Dwarf. He says, "Hi, glad to see these lives you started doing are doing well. Question: the girl I'm dating will disappear for a week and then finally respond to a text. These lapses are suspicious to me." I agree, Red Dwarf. It seems that's kind of the behavior of someone who sees you more as an option. You know what I mean? Like a whole week? And are you dating her exclusively? What's the deal, Red Dwarf? Because I would be downgrading this person and trying to date others if I were you. But what's your situation? Hey, Ankit, he says, "How are you?" Myself, Baikal Lake Man. You remember that? I do. Baikal Lake Man. Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I do remember that. Jerry's Tech Repair says, "Are all single women in their 40s jaded because they have been treated badly and have trust issues?" I would say single women in their 40s are more jaded, um, but not necessarily because they've been treated badly, but it's kind of like they probably wised up. You know what I'm saying? They kind of like are more hell bent on getting what they want out of a relationship, which can appear as, you know, it's going to clash with what a guy wants, because they're going to want like more a relationship with a guy who like invests in them and treats them right, whereas a guy's going to want like, hey, don't you just want to like just live in the moment, have fun, be spontaneous, and have casual sex and just have a wonderful experience and move on? And they're like, fuck no, because that's never what they really deep down wanted, and they're more aware of that now in their 40s. So it can appear as like, "Oh, why are these women all jaded?" But it's like, eh. So Dale Hill says, "Lol, hi Vic. Yeah, no, you may be doing this for years, decades to come, the way things are still going on in society between men and women." Yeah, I hope so, Dale. I hope I just continue to learn more and be more helpful. So TKD BLK Bell says mode one. Mode one. Let's say it in honor of ARC. So Nguyen says, "Have you read the following romance novels? Love a Story by Eric Segal." So I haven't read that. I have seen the movie. Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. I have read like 75% of it and seen the TV show. Yes. The Notebook by Nicholas Sparks. I haven't read the book, but I have seen the movie. And The Time Traveler's Wife. I have read the book. I have seen the TV show. I have seen the movie. And absolutely love the book. Hate the TV show and hate the movie. Why do you ask, Nguyen? What do you think of them? Time Traveler's Wife, definitely my favorite out of all those. Um, Gus Gus says, "I get nervous, but do it anyway. I try and turn it into a game and talk to random people." Very good. Adam Contra says, "Hi, do you think there are any PUAs out there who offer a good model for attraction and dating?" I am not really familiar with all the PUAs out there. In fact, many of them truly disgust me. But there might be one good one. I don't know. Maybe two, maybe three, maybe four. Who do you like, Adam? Eggy. Hi, I found your channel a couple days ago and I'm a woman. I love how you explain your thoughts and talk to others. It's lovely. Thank you for all you do, Vic. Oh, thank you so much, Eggy. That's amazing. I absolutely love when women find my videos and like them. Um, which video did you find and which one did you like? Then Nagayan says, I don't know why. I just wonder if I should finish listening to their audiobooks to understand more about the female mind. Seems like I should. I already started listening to Love Story and already crying because it's already resonating with my recent breakup. Oh wow, yeah, I've heard that's a good book. Um, yeah, I mean, there's many paths to understand the female mind, so don't force yourself. But if you like them, then go for it. All right, guys, we got to the end of the chat. So should probably go soon, but if you guys have any like last questions, just let me know. I will answer them and then I will peace out. So Red Dwarf says, thanks for taking interest in my concern. We went out, we had sex all last weekend. She left shoes and blouse in my car to go out with. Then nothing until today, a text. Okay. Well, it seems like, yeah, you just went out on one date or maybe multiple dates last weekend. But then if she doesn't text you till today, that's okay because, you know, it's new. It's not like you're in a relationship or anything. It's not like you're exclusive. So that seems more normal. That's fine. I mean, she might see you more as like a hookup situation. That's probably not too bad a deal for you, Red Dwarf. Oh, so she says several dates since September last year. Were they all like hookups? I mean, maybe she could have also been a little kind of like almost like embarrassed. But yeah, I wouldn't read too much into that. I mean, if she actually had sex with you, she likes you enough. So it's a good thing. So Jerry's tech repair says, my girl is 45 and I'm 43. She always asks what we are or what I want. I tell her that I want a relationship and I love her. Then she pulls away for weeks. That is weird. So is she dating you? Tell me more about this Jerry's tech repair because that's odd because she's like, what are we and what do you want? And you're like, I love you and I want a relationship. And then she just pulls away. By pulls away, does she ignore you or is she just more distant? Or tell me more. So then Jean Michel says, why are women not as promiscuous as men? That's a good question, Jean. On average, I've heard sexual psychologists say women have a slightly lower sex drive than men. It doesn't say anything about any individual woman, but as a population group. At the same time, there's a lot of like social, shaming of female sexuality that affects women, as well as fears for their safety, you know, as well as kind of the need to, it's like they got a time limit to find a partner, a life partner who will invest in them, who can protect them and take care of them, or that's what they want. So there's different factors. Like I made this video about that actually. I think I went into like 13 reasons. It's with my boyfriend Beardo, and he gives the male perspective. It's like we go out, we have a nice meal, we have sex. It's a wonderful experience. She has an orgasm, I have an orgasm. Like, what's wrong with that? And I kind of go into what women think is wrong with that, so you could check out that video as well. Um, yeah, it's kind of not certain, I think, like whether it's more societal or whether it's, the influence of testosterone. Yeah. So then Crazy says, "Do pickup artists waiting on the street for prey seem creepy to you?" Um, I don't know. That's not the worst part of pickup artists. Like the fact that they're practicing their skills, trying to ask women out. I don't take issue with that. It's more like the mentality of just like trying to fuck as many women as possible who are as, rating them on like a scale of 1 to 10, and then thinking that if they get like a 10, that validates them as a man, and like this is just their number one goal in life is to just like try to fuck as many tens as possible. Like that seems just insecure to me. And so it's kind of creepy in that it's just gross. But the fact that they're like trying to ask people out on the street isn't like the creepy part. Um, what do you think about them, Crazy? Um, Red Dwarf says, "So is it normal a girl goes silent 1 to 2 weeks sometimes, or I need to ensure I don't fall for her because I'm just an option?" Yeah, I would definitely try not to fall for her, Red Dwarf. I would definitely try to find somebody else. You got her, you can get somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And if she's going silent for 1 to 2 weeks, it's not a great sign. It's more of a sign that she looks at you as a hookup, a friend with benefits, kind of like, I don't know about this guy. Like he's good to have sex with when I need him, but I definitely won't be falling in love with her because you're just gonna get hurt. I mean, it's possible she could get more into you, but I would think you'd increase your chances of that by dating other women. Because women want a guy who has options, who can get girls and picks her. So show her that you can get girls and that you're not desperate and she's not your only option. So, Youth Authority 2021 says, "Why is my ex girl playing games?" Well, what do you mean by games, Youth Authority? So, and he says, "You are the best on the internet." Thank you, Youth Authority. That's really nice. So then, your understanding is the best. Oh, thanks. I I kind of doubt that, but I'm working on it. So then, oh, Mr. D says, "Victoria, you missed my question with a super chat." I'm sorry about that, Mr. D. I'm looking for your question. Let me try to find that. And if I don't see it, can you please copy and paste it down below? Just copy and paste it like in the chat right now because I'm not even seeing that because I thought I'm just going through like right down the list and I didn't see yours. So please let me know what it was. And it might have been censored. So if there was like crazy stuff in it, maybe try to censor that so that YouTube doesn't censor it for you. So then, oh no, Jerry's Tech Repair. This seems bad. She gets this in for 3 to 4 weeks, then we will be fine. We've been doing this for years now. We're both successful, so I don't know what to do. She won't talk to me about it. It seems terrible, Jerry's Tech Repair. Like, she won't even explain this? Like, I couldn't deal with that. That's very weird. I would be like obsessed by this mystery if it was me. I'd be like, what the hell is she doing? I don't understand. Yeah. How do you feel about it? So then let's see if Mr. D, I'm not seeing it still, so please copy and paste again. So then, Jean Michel says, "Do women feel the yuck more strongly than men when it comes to sex?" I would say yes, John Michelle. I think they do because I mean, I don't know, for sure. I think they do. I think that's quite clear. So then Paul says, "Hey Paul, hey, loading to go to my rehearsal studio, 150 miles away. I started staying in bed for days at a time. I guess it's depression. It was weird for me to be so withdrawn before my wife passed, but normal now. Hoping my music will bring me back." Oh no, Paul. I'm very sorry to hear that. I have been depressed before myself. It is horrible. Takes all the joy out of life. Couldn't imagine when I will ever be happy again. Then I read the book Feeling Good by Dr. Burns. That really helped. But anyway, Paul, I'm very sorry to hear that. And I really hope that things turn around for you. So, Duende says, if there was one book you'd recommend for men for their best optimized happiness, I suppose what I mean is something with some real substance on how men can have success meeting women. There might be a book out there, Duende, but I just haven't heard it yet. I think a really good book, if I just had to recommend one book for best optimized happiness, would be basically all the books of Dr. David Burns. He has a book on dating, intimate connections. It's good. It could be better. It's definitely good. Um, but basically all his books teach the way to the best optimized happiness in life better than any single book I have ever read in my entire life. Hands down, no holds barred, by a mile. So, yeah, Feeling Good by David Burns. I'd get that. However, for just dating, I don't know. I'm still like looking for a book that I just feel is like, oh, fuck, this is perfect. Like, this just explains it. So, what do you guys think is that book in the chat? Jorge says, isn't male nature to try to procreate with the best fertile women consistently? Um, I don't know. Maybe so. So it's all on a whim says, okay, hot books. Women love to find out a man has them and hides. Oh, interesting. Okay. So then, Duende says, P.S. Thank you for your content. You're a generous mind and heart. Grateful I am for you. Thank you, Duende. It's so nice. Um, Mr. D, finally, I found your question. Sorry about that. Sorry I missed it for so long, but I see it now. Victoria, in your opinion, is sex all about the talk? What kind of things do you love to hear from guys during sex, and in what position scenarios do you like hearing that? In my opinion, Mr. D, although I know I'm not, this doesn't go for everyone. Some women feel very uncomfortable with like dirty talk because then they feel, oh, great, I have to respond. I have no idea what to say. I feel like an idiot. I'd prefer just no talking. So I'm not saying everybody likes dirty talk. However, I like dirty talk and a lot of people like dirty talk. So for me, sex is definitely all about the talk. Like it's huge. So then, what kind of things do you love to hear from guys during sex? Well, that really depends on basically my fantasies. Like whatever her fantasies are, in my opinion, that's the kind of dirty talk that's going to hit the hardest. So you have to kind of know what she's into. Like, of course, you can just say things like, you're so sexy and gorgeous, you feel so good, all this basic generic stuff. But that's not really getting too dirty. Do you know what I'm saying? It's kind of just boring. The stuff that you really is really going to make it dirty is the stuff that connects to her literal fantasies. So you got to find out her fantasies. You got to find out her kinks. You got to find out what she's into. And then you got to hit those. because then she's really going to be firing on all cylinders. So, a lot of girls have similar kinks and similar fantasies, but it's like not everyone has all of them. And some people just really have like one that does it for them. So, you really got to like suss that out. And then you can just talk about it and it'll be really hot. So then Jean Michel says, "What's your best video explaining the female gaze?" Well, Michelle, it hasn't been made. I've talked about it I've talked about it in lives a lot, but I haven't made a short video on it yet. Um, I think like a lot of my videos explain different aspects of the female gaze. Like, for example, the focus on kind of like domination. That's part of the female gaze for sure. That's probably one of the most important parts of the female gaze, but it's not the only part. But yeah. Um, Something crazy says, I think pickup artists on the street are okay. I just wasn't sure about the female outlook. I think it probably comes down to what it always does, how hot the girl thinks the guy is. Um, and that's important, for sure. I mean, if he's a really amazing looking guy, he's going to get a lot better response just stopping someone on the street. He's not going to have to rely on his game so heavily. He's going to get that pretty privilege. Um, yeah. Lenny says, in the past you've recommended dark wine bars for first dates, but I was wondering if you had recommendations for people who don't drink. Well, Lenny, I also didn't drink, but I still think dark wine bars are good because you can get a mocktail at the dark wine bar. But it's not the fact that it's a alcoholic place, it's the fact that the ambiance is good. And she might drink. Um, but yeah, I didn't drink at all. But I tried doing all the things like I would go to the park, I would go to a coffee shop, I would go to a vegan restaurant, I would go to a juice bar. And eventually I just realized like this sucks. Like it's not good. I'm being so healthy, but the romance is just it's so hard to create in a brightly lit room. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not easy. So I realized it's a lot better if you want to have any possibility of like sex and romance and chemistry to go somewhere dark, to go somewhere where maybe they're drinking, to go somewhere with good lighting at night. Like during the day, it's just too businesslike. You're just like, hello, we are friends. What do you like to do? What do you like to do? It's not good. But trust me, I don't drink. Well, I haven't drank in like years basically at this point. It's not like I will just, like, I might have one drink if I wanted like once a year or something. But, yeah. So, and when I was dating, I had given up drinking for like years. So, anyway. So Mr. D says, "Oh my goodness, the chat was censoring the word sex. Wonder if there's any way you could tweak the settings to proclaim your live stream R-rated." That's interesting. I'll look into that, Mr. D. Yeah, sorry about that. It's crazy they censor sex. Just shows you the sex negative bias in our world. Zenduende says, David Burns. Thank you. Are you aware of the top selling book, How to Seduce Anyone? I'm curious if anyone has read it. I haven't read that. No. Who is that by? Seems interesting. If it's a top selling book, I'd like to read it. Jerry's Tucker says, it drives me crazy when she just gets distant. I even tried to date other women when we broke up a couple of times. That's good. When she saw me with someone else, she does whatever she can to get me back. Well, see, hey, it worked. I keep doing that. That's good. Nagoyan says, is it weird I'm getting excited listening to this? You're talking about kinks. Honestly, it's not weird because so few people like talk about kinks and sex openly, and people are just so sexually repressed that anytime they hear about sex, they're like incredibly titillated and stuff. But it's not weird, but yeah. Nguyen says the last 20 to 25 minutes of the previous stream went over her female gaze secret list. Indeed. Jerry's tech repair says, "Am I crazy for continuing to date her, or is she just using me?" I have no idea what's going on with her because she will not tell you. But I don't think you're crazy for continuing to date her, but I feel like you're crazy for continuing to like focus on her because honestly, this cannot be fun. I mean, maybe it doesn't bother you, but this would really bother me. And I would try to like get some other options quick, stat. I'll try to put some more irons in the fire. As my dad always says, the mouse with one hole is quickly taken. The more options you have, the less crazy you're going to feel. So you could get options. You said you in the interims you got other options. So I'd continue to focus on that because this girl's going to ruin your life, it seems like. I don't know, maybe it doesn't bother you. For me, it would drive me crazy. Jean Michel says, "What advice can you give the below average looking man to get the girl?" Okay, Jean, I would try to do everything you can for your looks. You're below average looking, okay? Well, let's just say your face is like so not naturally attractive. Like, okay for a man because you can still have like masculinity. And the more unattractive you are, you can almost seem more masculine because like you're not a pretty boy, you know what I'm saying? However, obviously being a pretty boy is an advantage. But it's not hopeless, is what I'm saying. I would focus on doing everything you can to improve your appearance. Like if you have a beard, like maximizing, the style of your beard. Like my friend, well, maybe I shouldn't say this, but let's just say my friend, I've told you guys before, he's gone on this looks maxing journey. He focused on his beard. He got colored contacts. He focused on his hair, even getting a wig. Okay. And he hasn't focused on his style yet, in my opinion, but that's a huge thing you can do. Try to dress in the most, and don't do what a man thinks is stylish. Okay. Because you can go horribly wrong. You need to look at what the kind of girls you like in a man. And I actually found this stylist on TikTok the other day who gives advice to men, and she's kind of like this female influencer on like what good looks are for men. Your style, it's huge. It can totally elevate you. So yeah, I would focus on trying to do everything you can to improve your looks. All right? Short of surgery, but yeah. Then I'd focus on your game as well, understanding women, understanding the female gaze, understanding like what are the typical male blind spots, and that will get you pretty far. Then perhaps if you get to the point where you're having sex, I'd focus on learning how to be dominant, understanding female kinks. That will get you even farther and get them hooked for life. So, yeah, those 3 tiers would be very good. So, what do you think, Jean Michel? Red Dwarf says, question, a bit confused by women. If I show I have options and women want me exclusively, but if I give them exclusivity, they don't want me anymore. How can a man have a relationship? Um, I don't think if a woman knows you've got a lot of options and then she's suddenly very interested in you, I wouldn't worry about them like immediately ditching you once you give them exclusivity. I mean, it's possible one or two women might do that, but it's not like this rule that many people in like the red pill think it is. Like the second you show you're interested in them and the second you let down your guard is the very second they're out of there. It's like, no, that's just your insecurity. That's just your fear. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but it's not like some law of like female nature or anything like that. So Lenny says that makes sense. Thanks for the response. Always love catching your lives. Let me just remember. Yeah, dark wine bars. Yep, Lenny. I think so. So Samir says, how to seduce book of Robert Greene are you talking about? Oh yeah, Art of Seduction, I think you mean. Is it called The Art of Seduction or is it called like The Laws of Seduction? I forgot now. Just had a blank there. I think it's called The Art of Seduction. Yeah, I've read it. So then John says, do women like persistent guys that keeps coming after getting rejected? It's a tricky question because it depends what you mean and how you're doing it. Okay, because in some situations that could be very bad and could be perceived as stalkerish. But in other situations, if they haven't firmly rejected you and you're just playing the long game, keeping chill and keeping cool and waiting for the opportunity and the moment to strike again, if you will, it can be good. But it's kind of dangerous advice because guys can take that the wrong way and just, you know. So it can be good, it can be bad. So cool beyond. Duende says every girl crazy about a sharp dressed man. You're right, Duende. So Cool Beyond says, hi, what are some top kinks? That's a great question, Cool Beyond. All right. Here are some of the top kinks, in my opinion. We got dominant guys. We got spanking. We got bondage. We got multiple guys. We got DDLG, daddy doms. We got kitten play. We got, what else? Discipline, household discipline, domestic discipline. We got, I'm thinking of some like weirder ones now. We got kind of like rough sex. And there's a whole bunch more, but those are some like big ones, in my opinion. But one way you can really do your own research, Cool Beyond, is go on FetLife, look at women's profiles, just random women, just click around, click through, and look at their profiles, and then look at their fetish lists. And you will see descriptions of all the kinks they're into. And the more you click around through different people's profiles, the more you will see the patterns. You're like, oh, everybody seems to be into this one. You know what I mean? So that can help. So then, like that's what I was doing. I'm reading around, I'm like, everybody has the same kinks. It's crazy. And then like when I'm reading romance novels, I'm like, yep, I got all these kinks and so does everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And no, that's not to say literally everybody has the exact same kinks. That's crazy. No. But there are definitely some big major ones that a lot of people are into. Let's say that. So Francisco Collins says, I'm very dominant in the sex thing, but it's often with women who are broken or want to hook up. I want to try this in a relationship situation, but I'm still practicing the female gaze thing. So how are women broken if they want to hook up? I don't get that, Francisco. Nagoy said, that's what I did. I kept it chill and cool, waited for Valentine's Day, gave her a cake, I baked myself, and boom, it lasted 2 months longer than it should. Yep, exactly, Nagoy. Jerry's tech repair says, should I tell her she is driving me crazy and she needs to tell me what's going on or I'll leave her? Well, Jerry, it's like, I only want you to tell her that if it's true. Like, if you really feel like you can't take this anymore and you're willing to, like, give it all up, then yes, you should tell her that. But if, it's not honest, then she's just gonna realize like you don't even mean it, and she can just walk all over you, you know? If it were me, Jerry, I would just start dating other people. I would just start finding other options, going on dates, and then letting her know. Oh yeah, I mean not in an obvious way, but she asked like, "Oh, what'd you do this weekend?" You're like, "I actually saw this girl." And she'll be like, "What? What are you talking about?" It's like, "Yeah, because you know, just disappear for weeks. Like I can't live like that." And she'll be like, "Oh," she might be more willing to talk at that point. Once you got options, once you actually have power, not just telling her, "Oh, well, I might be able to get some power." No, actually get the power, and then you'll be in a more powerful position, you know? The silent observer says, apart from French Brutus, who else would you recommend to get ideas of what a woman wants from? That's a great question, the silent observer. Great question. Um, well, I like that guy Gideon Mazikeen. He's always getting kicked off TikTok and stuff, but I think he's really good. Um, I don't know, because I've seen some guys who are kind of like sex experts or whatever on TikTok, and they give advice, and some of them are like, oh, okay, they're okay. But I haven't really seen anyone who's just really standing out to me. But I will definitely let you guys know if I find anyone. Who do you think's good? Who do you think is really good? I don't know, because like these typical red pill dating channels, like I don't think they're good. I don't think they get it. And definitely not like the Andrew Tate's crowd and like the Fresh and Fit crowd and all that. So I don't know. What do you think, the Silent Observer? Hello, Dingo. Good day. Yeah. Yep, Dingo Ann. Thank you for capturing that. Crazy says, what's the best way to spot a single girl? Crazy, the best way to spot a single girl is to simply ask out who you want to ask out. It's literally insane and crazy, if you will, to try to intuit in advance a single girl so that you don't get rejected. I mean, that's crazy, literally. Because how is it like a harsh and harmful rejection if a girl who is in a relationship rejects you? That's nothing about you. It means absolutely nothing about you. So there's no way you should be getting offended if you ask a girl, "Hey, you want to go on a date?" and then she's like, "No, I'm in a relationship." She's literally bound and committed to her relationship. Maybe because guys think like relationships are kind of more like, well, if someone had sex with me, then like maybe I just get rid of my relationship. No, girls don't think like that. Okay? They're in the relationship because they want to be in the relationship. They had options. But it's no skin up your back if somebody says they're not single. So why are you trying to worry about who is single and who is not? It's absolutely crazy. It just shows like massive fear of rejection because that's not even a rejection you should be like hurt by. You know what I'm saying? So please don't be worrying about who's single, who's not single. Who cares? You need to get the skill of just asking out who you want to ask out and not be afraid of that and not think it means some terrible thing about you like, "Oh no, she was a 9.5 and she rejected me. Therefore I suck and I'm worthless as a man and I failed." It's just absolutely crazy, people. So Francisco Collins says, "What I mean by broken, some women they share their past and it's often a dark past. They freeze up when I kiss them and they go all in. It gets hot pretty quick." Okay, why is that bad, Francisco? It's a dark past. It's fine. I mean, women have dark pasts. I mean, like 1 in 4 women or something like that, or 1 in 3 are like sexually assaulted. They freeze up when I kiss them. Okay, that's normal. Then they go all in. It gets hot pretty quick. That's good. That's very good. It gets hot. That's hot. That's good. I'm confused, Francisco. Let me know. What am I missing? Duende says men and women are only as faithful as their options. I find this to be more apparent in shallow dating world depression. Uh, I mean, I don't really agree with that. I mean, I think it's probably more true of men than women. But Nguyen says, wait, I like a lot of stuff Andrew Tate. Are you giving him approval? No, I am not. Not at all, Nguyen. What do you like about him? J.A. Thank you so much, J.A., for your super chat. I appreciate you. Hi, Victoria, and hi, Brokies. Thanks, J.A. Trying to make me some money here. Thanks, J.A. Appreciate you. So, any questions, J.A.? Let me know. How are you doing and how's it going? Mr. No Sign says, a girl was about to sit next to me, but she didn't, and we made eye contact and laughed. Is that a sign? I think it's a sign that she's friendly. Again, guys, don't be looking for these signs, but it's a sign that she's friendly. Like, you know, that's a good thing. Doesn't mean she's into you. Doesn't mean she wants to jump on your dick. Does she want to, do a hooju? No. The silent observer says, I'm not really sure, apart from French Breeze, he just seems to have a certain va-va-voom that women seem to absolutely love. He does, because he has a very positive feminist attitude. He's really appreciative of all body types. He's also a porn star. He's a dom. He's got it all. He's got like the perfect non-red pill mentality, and he knows how to be a good dom. So Dingo Dundee says, I found that women today honestly have no clue about real relationships or the values needed for a sexual relationship. Why is that, Dingo? Jay says, I'll super chat for sure in a bit. Love your channel. Thanks, Jay. You already super chatted, so I appreciate you so much. Lagorian says, I don't know nothing clear that I like about him. Just thought he said something I kind of not disagree strongly with, but not really agree strongly either. Yeah, well, the last time I read of him, I mean, he's saying really generic stuff. He's like, men, it is our sacred duty to work out. I'm like, okay, if you want to see it that way, yeah, work out. Go crazy. So obviously there's a lot of stuff he's saying that's just kind of like generic self-help. So yeah, I don't disagree strongly or agree strongly. Like, yeah, work out, make money, get your finances right, sure. So Francisco says, okay, she messaged me saying, I'm not ready to get physical with someone yet. I'm looking for a guy who would just listen to me, which I did for 5 hours that night. Then she told me to have a nice life. Oh, God, that's funny. So is this the same person he got hot with or a different person? Ellis says, is it better to not look for signs or choosing signals from women when you're out and about living your life? 100% Ellis. I think this whole idea of looking for signs and choosing signals, I mean, is it just for guys who like literally cannot take one more rejection? If you're literally about to crack because like you can't take one more rejection, then sure, look for choosing signals. You're going to be, from what I've seen, acting like a crazy person trying to read like these imaginary signs and signals, or you just be waiting a really long time for some, 1% girl, meaning this is like 1 out of 100 girls to just be like super flirtatious with you. But hey, if you want to wait for that, if you just want to wait for girls to come to you and you're just like passive, fine. Have it your way. I don't think it's best. I think you're going to be missing out on a lot of women. I think you're going to be looking like crazy looking for the signs. But yeah, I think you should just this is how girls think of like men, okay? This is what girls think of like a real man. Girls think a real man, if he wanted to, he would. That's like the number one refrain that girls talk to each other about. If he wanted to, he would, because the underlying assumption there is that real men, in their minds, their, hyper masculine fantasy or fallacy of men do what they want. So if they wanted to talk to you, if they saw a girl they were attracted to, they would have no problem coming over to ask you out. They think that's how like men think. They think that's how real men think. They have like no problem acting on their impulses. They have like this hyper masculine projection. So they think that they don't have to give a sign because if you're attracted to them, you'll come over to talk to them because that's how like alpha guys think. And they only want alpha guys. So, in my opinion, it's best for you to have that mentality of, oh, hey, there's a girl. I like her. Let me just go over and talk to her. Oh, she rejected me. Okay, no problem. Because I got options. That's the way like an alpha guy, he would have options, right? And that's how girls think and want guys to be thinking. They want to believe that men have options and that they're not crushed by rejection. Because it's like a guy who's crushed by rejection, how he's gonna how he's gonna like make it in life? How's he gonna be like an alpha, like real man and all that if he's just crushed by a simple rejection? I mean, they don't really like know so much about like male psychology or whatever. So, but that's their blind spot. So I want you guys to just have that mentality. Like, hey, I asked out a girl. She said no. She's not single. Okay, whatever. Because I'm a man, I'm going to continue to do what I feel like is best and what's right for me. And I'm not going to silence myself due to fear. It's that kind of thing. That's how women like want you to be thinking. They will see it as beta as fuck if they realize and know that you are looking for these choosing signals. They see that as incredibly feminine, incredibly passive, incredibly beta, like just truth bombing you here. If they knew, if you told a woman, "Oh yeah, I only look for signs when the woman is super into me." She's like, "How's that being a dom? How is that guy going to be able to lead? How is that guy going to be able to be masculine?" He is just waiting for a girl to take the lead. He's a pussy, he's passive. This is how they're thinking, but they're not gonna say. So that's why I don't want you guys to be looking for signs and choosing signals. I want you guys to just be like, "Yeah, I talk to who I want." Okay, so that's just some real talk for you. Ellis, what do you think? No offense to you, but I just wanna, like, tell it to you straight now so you can just hopefully it'll, like, sink in. Wow, okay, I got some real stuff happening here. Wow, JA, thank you so much, first of all, for your super chat. If you were a man, you would be an F boy or a nice guy. Okay, is this a question, JA? If I was a man, it's a tough question, JA, because I definitely relate to like nice guys in the sense that like I have like people pleaser tendencies, although sometimes I tell people like you're not a people pleaser at all. I'm like, maybe okay. Ah. But I do have some tendencies, okay, some anxieties and all this. At the same time, I think I might be better at being an F boy than your average guy because I know like what women like sexually. So I don't know. I don't know. Great question, Jay, and thank you so much for your super chat. And then we got JG. Oh God, JG, thank you so much. He says, "Can't believe I made it on. I keep missing it. Vortex, vortex, vortex." I heard this quote recently on IG: "Women catfish on looks, and men catfish on mental stability." So does this mean when women have no mental stability? Okay, JG, that's actually really interesting because I do think there's some truth in that. Wait, so wait a second. So women are basically catfishing, meaning they're okay. Wait, because are you saying women catfish on mental stability or men catfish on mental stability? Explain this catfish thing to me just one more time, because I was thinking women kind of do catfish on mental stability, meaning they pretend to be like the cool girl. They pretend to be not needy. They pretend to have their life together. In fact, that's what a lot of female dating books like really are hammering home to women. They're hammering home to women that, you know, pretend like you're busy. Pretend like you got your life in order. Pretend like you don't care about him calling you. So yeah, they do catfish on mental stability. I'd say it's huge. But in your thing, are you saying men catfish on mental stability or women? But do women have no mental stability? Obviously, They have some mental stability. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. But is it more common for women to be expecting to get support on their mental stability from men? I'd say yes. I'd say yes. They want a man to be that guy who they can vent to, and he's supporting them. He's not trying to fix the problem. He's giving them that fatherly, nurturing love and support, almost like you treat a child. And it's kind of interesting because, like, my boyfriend, when we got together, he didn't used to do that for me, and then finally he started doing it, and I'm like, "Why are you being so nurturing and, like, loving now?" And he's like, "Well, I didn't know you wanted that. I had no idea you wanted that. I thought, like, you just wanted help fixing your problems and stuff." And I'm like, "No." So anyway, I'm not sure if that's what you mean, JG, but let me know. So he says, "Yeah, real talk time." Indeed. And then he says, "I asked my mom about this and she said women are so emotional, so they can't actually be reasonable about most things." I'm not sure I would take it that far, JG. I mean, I don't really know about that, but I do feel they want to have somebody who is emotionally supportive and in a way that guys don't really seem to expect. Because I kind of learned from like my channel, it's like when guys are upset, they're gonna like be okay with some guy being like, dude, just keep your chin up and like you can get through this. But a girl's not gonna like that. A girl's gonna be like, bro, what the fuck? Why are you talking to me like that? Like, why are you just trying to tell me to get over it? Toxic positivity, like, they're gonna want you to be like, oh, baby, come here. Are you sad? They want like that nurturing stuff. And they expect it. I mean, they expect it from their female friends and they expect it from the men in their life. So, yeah, I do think that's kind of like a difference because I feel like most men, they're kind of like, I learned at a young age. My problems and my feelings don't matter, and I just have to like hide my weakness and get on with life. Whereas women don't really have that assumption. Do you know what I'm saying? They have this assumption that when I tell my feelings, women are going to be like, "Oh my god, that's so terrible. Oh my god." You know what I'm saying? So perhaps it can seem like this. What do you think, JG? But yeah, that's one of the 11 that's one of the 11th female gaze fallacies I wanted to add on to my list from last night, which is that they expect nurturing love like you would treat a beloved child in their relationships and from men. That's what they want in their relationship. They want to be nurtured like a loving father loves a child. That would be like ideal. And then everybody's going to probably say, oh, women want to be children. All right. Not exactly, but. So then JG says, wow, that is deep. Never thought of the assumptions. Hmm. Which ones, JG? Which assumptions? So thank you for that fantastic question. Thank you for super chat. Thank you. So Mr. D says, Victoria, do you know who Sue Johansson is? She has to go. I don't. I'm going to write her down right now, Mr. D, and I'm going to look her up after this. Who is she? Sue Johansson. Okay. JA says, makes sense. Does it, JA? Say more. So then JG says, that is so bizarre because men assume women will be helpers and not so dependent. Yeah, that's what I hear, JG. But that's not what women are expecting. That's not what women are signing up for. But that's very interesting that you say that men actually assume women will be their helpers. Yeah, I agree with you. But it's just like a bizarre cross of like, this is not what I signed up for, and this is not what I signed up for. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know what you were signing up for, and I did not know what you were signing up for. And now it's just all like one big mess. But yeah, women are not wanting to be 100% independent in relationships. They are hoping a strong guy will take care of them financially, emotionally, and that they will get to be dependent. And even when they want to be independent, they want to retain a little bit of that emotional dependence. That's like the female gaze for you. That's what they're expecting and wanting out of relationships. JG says, yeah, it would be so much easier if you knew you had to babysit all day instead of thinking you are getting an assistant. Yeah. Indeed. That's kind of like I told you, that's kind of what my boyfriend realized. He's like, oh, I didn't know you kind of like wanted this babysitting. And I'm like, well, I do because it's hot and it makes me feel good. And I feel a lot more emotionally connected to you and it makes me feel more in love with you, you know? So, yeah, very, very interesting, JJ. So, let's see. So, Nick McKinley says, how can you be more dominant to a girl with daddy issues? She clearly craves someone to lead her slash validate her. Well, Nick McKinley, she probably has a DDLG kink. Okay. I don't know how you figured out she has daddy issues. I mean, that's not even like a real thing. But what you're probably picking up on is that she wants a daddy. Okay. So, what I would do is learn about DDLG. I would listen to some DDLG erotic audios to understand how she wants to be talked to and the kind of things she wants to say. Because if she clearly craves someone to lead her and validate her, and she's somehow made it apparent to you that she has some weird daddy thing, there's a whole kink. There's a lot you can get into there, and there's a lot you can go there, and there's a lot of people doing it. Yeah, so I'll check out some DDLG erotic audios, and I would just kind of ask her, "What do you want me to do? Like, what would you really like crave me doing? Like, if I could just lead you and validate you in the perfect way that you would want," and see what she says. Because maybe she'll just straight up tell you, well, I want you to, just like brush my hair and while I'm taking a bath or something. Like, who knows? So, yeah. All right, guys. So, let's see. Let's see. Well, guys, I'm getting pretty tired, so I got to go soon, but the chat's heating up, so thank you guys so much. Um, yeah. Should I answer like a few more questions? I don't know. Let's see. Great point, Duende. He's been rejected a ton of times. 80% had nothing to do with me or my game. It's just some hard math a real man uses for great good. Ellis Jackson says, no offense taken, thanks. Makes sense. What type of advice do you recommend for guys who do not have options, even though women want to think that men wouldn't get phased by rejections because they have options? The reality is many guys do not. 100%. 100% a blind spot on their part. I 100% agree with you. Many men do not. So you don't have options. You're going to have to start getting options. Ellis Jackson, try to look smacks, try to game max, and try to make sure you got good photos and a good profile for your online dating apps. It's kind of just basic stuff, but Yep, you're just gonna have to do what everyone else does and start working on things. Working out if you can. That'll help. That's not everything, but it can help you look smacks. But yeah, you can do this, Ellis Jackson. Do not get out of this game. Do not give up. I know it's not easy. I'm looking at your profile picture in this tiny little circle, and you're good looking. You're good looking. What do you think your issue is? Why don't you have options, Ellis Jackson? What do you think's holding you back most? Let me know. Hello, Banter ABC. Mr. Nokozan says, is it better to have no female friends or be an orbiter nice guy Roger? Well, Mr. Nokozan, I think there's a middle ground. You can have female friends, but please don't just drop everything and spend tons of money on these female friends and be a complete people pleaser to these female friends. Just have female friends if you want to have female friends. They can give you advice, they can invite you to parties, they can set you up, but please don't go, 100% into being their slave. So then Moata says, do you think compliments work on women? Well, it's a very interesting question. Okay. They're necessary, but not sufficient. So you can do a bad compliment, you can do a good compliment. And if you have no looks and no game and the woman's not into you, just a simple compliment isn't going to help. However, compliments do create attraction or can create attraction if she's already into you, or even to help get the ball rolling. But it's just not going to be the end all and be all. It's not going to be like this magic wand, like, I said a compliment, like, she should want to fuck me. Like, it's not going to be like that. But, I mean, if a guy didn't compliment me, I'd be like, this is never going to work. So they're very, 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 very important. But just they're not going to be like this magic bullet. So Els Jackson says, I never told a woman that I wait for choosing signals, but I have received them before and it has worked. Just maybe not always from the woman that I wanted to receive them from. Exactly. Okay, so you never told a woman that you waited. Yeah, that's good. Don't tell them. But you have received them before and it has worked. 100%. If you receive them, that's fantastic. However, you said, just maybe not from all the women that I wanted to receive them from. Exactly. So you're going to be confining yourself to a very thin, narrow band of women. And you're going to be ignoring all the other women who assume that men are going to be more like alpha and aggressive. So it doesn't really make sense to me to only focus on these women who are like, I don't want to insult them, but just between me and you, they're kind of crazy. Okay. And I'm not saying like they're crazy, like, oh, women are crazy. No, that's not what I mean. But I mean, like, they're unusual. They're unusual for a woman. They don't care about being dominant. They don't care about being the aggressor. It's more unusual. The rest of these women over here, they're more what we call like the alpha subs. They want a guy to prove it to them. They want to test a guy. And it's harder. It's more work. But that's most women, and at some point you got to like step into the playing field. So, anyway, Nick McKinley says, tips for making a really pretty girl be obsessed with you when she's not used to chasing/starting conversations at all. Yeah, most girls are not going to be into chasing/starting conversations. That's kind of what I'm saying. You're going to have to be the dom. You're going to have to be the man. You're going to have to act masculine. You're going to have to lead the whole thing. You're going to have to set the whole thing up. It's like me and my boyfriend, we started taking like ballroom dancing, right? This is all programmed into like ballroom dancing. I mean, it's attractive. Like even when we're dancing, I can kind of feel it. I'm like, it's kind of hot because it's like the man is the man. He's the gentleman. He's setting up the whole dance for you, and all you have to do is look pretty. And that's what most girls want the date to go like. They want you to set up the date, and all she just has to be feminine and submissive. So yeah. Um, Mr. Noko sign says, is it unattractive if a man smiles a lot or laughs a lot? Not necessarily, Mr. No Cosign, but I have noticed that it can be sometimes it can be not great because it can make him look like too much of a people pleaser, almost like a smile of fear. And it can make him look like too agreeable, too easygoing. And sometimes, like, women want a little more raw, unbridled, like masculinity, a little more strength and aggression. And a smile can kind of like signal fear, nervousness, people pleasing, and those can be unattractive traits to women at times. Obviously, sometimes they're going to like it. That golden retriever energy, as they say on TikTok. But I don't know. So just a guy says, do women look upon men as less masculine or less attractive if he says he's had a vasectomy? I don't think so. I don't think so because he's still who he is. Yeah, I don't I don't think that matters. Unless they, want to have kids. I know it can be reversed, but sometimes it doesn't work well. So then Sputsky says, I have 3 friend with benefits hookup relationships with women. Oh, I've had 3. Each situation was proposed by her. In the space of just a few weeks, each woman wanted to elevate to a serious relationship. Coincidence or not? No, I don't think that's a coincidence because this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Because this is one of the girls who sent you choosing signals, right? And they proposed it, and then they want to be all like serious. It's like that sounds like fitting the profile. They kind of don't know like the dating rules. They're used to just straight up asking for what they want and kind of just it's not the typical feminine way like most women are thinking. It's more dominant, active, like aggressive way. And it's great, but I mean that's kind of how it's going to go. They're going to just be like that. Nothing wrong with it. But yeah, it makes total sense. They would want to just like then they ask you to hook up and then they want to ask you to be in a relationship. Yeah, because that's what they want. And that's what women would probably want if they had the boldness and confidence and lack of inhibitions that someone who just asked to hook up has. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of why I'm saying they're not typical. Hello, Michelle. Jay, thank you so much for your super chat. He says, how much do handsome men have an advantage? I think the advantage is quite great. They have a huge advantage. They have a very large advantage. I would just accept that. I mean, how much do beautiful women have an advantage? I mean, all women have pretty good, but they got a big advantage, you know? So, yeah, I think the advantage is massive. What do you think, J.A.? Congratulations, Michelle. Amazing. So, just a guy says, also follow-up question, can women bond equally to snipped men, or does she need his sperm for full attachment? I think they could definitely bond equally to snipped men. Um, we got another super chat. Thank you so much, JA. I really appreciate all your super chats. You're so nice. Um, the Silent Observer says Sterling Cooper has a really good course, which I know you have taken from your interview with him, and any other courses you would recommend to get a woman going in terms of her sexuality. Well, I actually bought a course from this guy, but I haven't watched it yet. But I think it's going to be really good. Um, I have seen that Sterling Cooper course. This is a new course I've got. And there's another course from this guy on TikTok I kind of want to take. But yeah, you never know with these courses. Sometimes they suck. Sometimes they're good. Wonderful, wonderful Gaelic Nordic girl, i.e. Michelle. Fantastic. That's so exciting. All right, guys, I gotta go. I'm getting so tired. You guys gave me some fantastic questions tonight, some fantastic super chats. Thank you guys so much. I learned a lot. I always learn a lot from your questions. Seriously. Like, I feel like I'm learning a lot. And I love it. And I thank you guys for hanging out with me and joining you. Like, some of you guys, I don't know how you do it, but like, whenever I do a live, like, you're able to join, and it means a lot. It's really cool. Appreciate you guys. Hope you guys have a wonderful night. I hope some good things happens to you guys. I hope all my followers are very, very successful with women or men. All right, guys. I will bid you all adieu and good night. Goodbye. Thank you once again very much.